Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went there? Have you ever searched for your keys, only to discover they were in your hand the entire time? Or forgotten someone's name and remembered it hours later? If so, you're not alone. Almost everyone experiences occasional forgetfulness. In fact, mild memory lapses are a normal part of life. Stress, lack of sleep, anxiety, depression, medications, and even dehydration can affect how well our brains function. But sometimes, memory problems can signal something more serious. Dementia affects millions of people around the world. It's not a normal part of aging, and it's much more than simply forgetting things. Dementia is a progressive condition that affects memory, thinking, behavior, judgment, and the ability to perform everyday activities. One of the biggest challenges with dementia is that the warning signs often develop slowly. Family members may notice subtle changes years before a diagnosis is ever made. Sometimes the person experiencing the symptoms doesn't recognize them at all. Today, we're discussing 10 warning signs that may indicate dementia. Having one of these symptoms doesn't necessarily mean you have dementia. However, if multiple signs are present and they interfere with daily life, it's important to speak with a healthcare professional. Let's begin. Warning sign number 1. Memory loss that disrupts daily life. This is perhaps the most recognized symptom of dementia. Everyone forgets things occasionally. We forget birthdays, misplace our glasses, or struggle to recall a name during a conversation. But dementia-related memory loss is different. People with dementia often have difficulty retaining newly learned information. They may forget recent conversations, appointments, or important events despite being reminded multiple times. For example, imagine having a conversation with someone at breakfast and then having no memory of that conversation by lunchtime. A person may ask the same question repeatedly because they genuinely do not remember asking it before. Family members often notice this symptom first. Perhaps your mother calls you 4 times in one afternoon to ask when you're visiting, despite receiving the answer each time. Or your spouse repeatedly forgets plans you discussed just hours earlier. Long-term memories often remain intact during the early stages, which can make the situation even more confusing. Someone may vividly remember events from 40 years ago but struggle to recall what happened yesterday. This is because dementia often affects the brain's ability to create and store new memories before older memories become impaired. As the disease progresses, memory loss typically becomes more severe and begins interfering with everyday life. Warning sign number 2. Difficulty planning or solving problems. Another early sign of dementia involves changes in thinking and problem-solving abilities. Tasks that once seemed simple may become frustrating and confusing. Consider someone who has managed their household finances for decades. Suddenly, balancing a checkbook becomes difficult. Paying bills becomes overwhelming. They may make mistakes that seem completely out of character. Cooking can also become challenging. A person who has prepared the same family recipe for 30 years may suddenly struggle to follow the instructions. Simple calculations may become confusing. Organizing daily tasks may feel impossible. This happens because dementia can affect executive function, which refers to the brain's ability to plan, organize, prioritize, and make decisions. For some people, these changes are subtle at first. Perhaps they take longer to complete familiar tasks. They may become easily overwhelmed when faced with multiple responsibilities. Over time, however, these difficulties often become increasingly noticeable. Family members sometimes mistake these symptoms for normal aging or stress, delaying diagnosis and treatment. Warning sign number 3. Trouble completing familiar tasks. One of the most concerning warning signs occurs when someone begins having difficulty performing tasks they've completed successfully for years. Imagine forgetting how to use a microwave. Imagine struggling to operate a television remote you've used every day for a decade. Or imagine getting lost while driving home from a store you've visited hundreds of times. For people experiencing dementia, these situations are very real. Tasks that once required little thought suddenly become confusing and stressful. Someone may forget how to prepare coffee, use household appliances, or follow the rules of a favorite card game. Many people with early dementia become aware that something is wrong. They may become frustrated, embarrassed, or anxious when they cannot perform activities that once felt effortless. This emotional response often causes individuals to hide their difficulties from family members for months or even years. They may stop doing certain activities altogether rather than admitting they are struggling. Warning sign number 4. Confusion with time and place. Have you ever woken up from a nap and briefly forgotten what day it was? That's normal. However, dementia-related confusion goes much further. People with dementia may lose track of dates, seasons, years, and even the passage of time itself. Someone may believe it's morning when it's actually nighttime. They may become confused about whether an event happened yesterday, last week, or several years ago. In some cases, individuals become disoriented in familiar environments. Imagine walking through your own neighborhood and suddenly having no idea where you are. Imagine driving to your local grocery store and forgetting how to get home. This type of confusion can be frightening and dangerous. It's one of the reasons why many families eventually become concerned about allowing loved ones to drive independently. As dementia progresses, episodes of confusion often become more frequent and more severe. Warning sign number 5. Problems with vision and spatial awareness. Many people don't realize that dementia can affect vision. This doesn't necessarily mean changes in eyesight itself. Instead, dementia can affect how the brain interprets visual information. A person may struggle to judge distances. They may have difficulty recognizing objects or navigating through familiar spaces. Stairs may become difficult because depth perception is impaired. Driving may become dangerous because the person cannot accurately judge speed or distance. Some individuals may even have trouble recognizing familiar faces. Imagine looking directly at someone you've known for years and not immediately recognizing who they are. These symptoms can be confusing because they often resemble ordinary vision problems. As a result, many people initially visit an eye doctor before realizing the problem may actually involve the brain. Warning sign number 6. Difficulty speaking, writing, or following conversations. Communication changes are extremely common in dementia. A person may begin struggling to find the right words. They may pause frequently during conversations. Sometimes they lose their train of thought entirely. Imagine knowing exactly what you want to say, but being unable to find the words to express it. For example, someone might point to a refrigerator and say, "Can you get me that cold food box thing?" They know what the object is, but their brain cannot retrieve the word. Conversations may become repetitive. Stories may be repeated several times. Written communication may also become difficult. A person may struggle to write emails, letters, or even grocery lists. These communication problems can become frustrating and embarrassing, leading many people to withdraw socially. Warning sign number 7. Misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace steps. Everyone loses things. But dementia-related memory problems often involve placing items in unusual locations. A wallet may end up in the freezer. Car keys may be found inside a kitchen drawer. Eyeglasses may appear in the bathroom cabinet. The major difference is that the person cannot remember placing the item there and cannot retrace their steps to find it. This often creates tremendous frustration. Some individuals begin believing others are stealing from them. They may accuse family members, caregivers, neighbors, or friends of taking their belongings. These accusations are usually not intentional. They arise because the person genuinely cannot understand what happened. For family members, these situations can be emotionally painful and confusing. Warning sign number 8. Poor judgment and decision-making. Changes in judgment often appear earlier than many people realize. A person who is previously cautious and responsible may suddenly make unusual decisions. They may give money to scammers. They may purchase unnecessary items. They may ignore important medical issues. Personal hygiene can also change. Someone who always dressed neatly and cared about their appearance may stop bathing regularly or wear inappropriate clothing. For example, they might wear heavy winter clothing during hot weather or fail to recognize that their clothing is dirty. Family members often notice that their loved one no longer seems to make decisions that reflect their lifelong personality and values. Warning sign number 9. Withdrawal from social activities and hobbies. One of the saddest signs of dementia is social withdrawal. People with early dementia often realize they're having difficulties. As a result, they may avoid situations that expose those problems. They stop attending social gatherings. They quit hobbies. They withdraw from clubs, volunteer work, and community activities. This isn't necessarily because they no longer enjoy these activities. Often, it's because they fear becoming embarrassed or confused. A person who once loved playing cards may stop participating because they can no longer remember the rules. Someone who enjoyed conversations may avoid family gatherings because following discussions has become difficult. Over time, this social isolation can contribute to loneliness, depression, and further cognitive decline. Warning sign number 10. Changes in mood, personality, and behavior. Perhaps one of the most difficult aspects of dementia is the way it can change a person's personality. Someone who is calm and patient may become irritable. Someone who is outgoing may become withdrawn. Someone who trusted others may become suspicious or fearful. Mood swings may occur more frequently. Depression and anxiety are common. Some people become agitated or aggressive. Others become apathetic and lose interest in activities they once loved. Family members often describe feeling as though they are slowly losing the person they once knew. These changes can be heartbreaking because they affect relationships, communication, and family dynamics. It's important to remember that these behavioral changes are symptoms of a disease affecting the brain. They are not intentional. If you recognize some of these warning signs in yourself or someone you love, don't panic. Many medical conditions can mimic dementia, including vitamin deficiencies, thyroid disorders, depression, medication side effects, infections, hearing loss, sleep apnea, anxiety, and stress. However, if these symptoms are persistent, worsening, or interfering with daily life, seeking medical evaluation is extremely important. Early diagnosis can provide access to treatments, support services, lifestyle interventions, and future planning opportunities. Dementia is not simply a part of getting older. It is a medical condition that deserves attention, understanding, and compassion. The earlier it's recognized, the more opportunities there may be to improve quality of life for both patients and their families. If you found this information helpful, please consider sharing this video with someone you care about. Awareness could make a meaningful difference in someone's life.